The show off. The show for people who want to find out who they are, then do it on purpose. And here is your host, Janine Coombs.
Hi everyone, welcome so much to another episode of the show off. And today we've got a super special treat for you because we have the man, the myth, the legend, Gus Bandile. He is a social media specialist, marketing strategist, professional speaker, and the UK's #1 trainer, according to his mum. And he's amazing. Gus, welcome to the show off.
That's I love that intro. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me as well. I really appreciate it.
It's my absolute pleasure. Known Gus for years. We first met at a conference, didn't we? And I had a little video show and you possibly lied and said that you were a fan. And I'm a complete tart for compliments. And I've been a fan of his ever since, because if you throw me a compliment, then I'm putty in your hands.
It was, first of all, that's good to know for the future, for the next time I see you. However, it was absolutely true. I was a massive fan. And actually, it was your secret marketing show and we sang the jingle together. I very much remember that. And I'll never forget that because I loved your show and I loved the jingle. And then I sang it to you when we first met, which looking back now is probably a bit weird.
It didn't feel weird. I was on top of the world. I was like, whoa, somebody knows the jingle.
Of course. And obviously, I'm still a fan. So, yeah.
Should we sing it together now?
No, we won't.
Oh.
Yeah, this is being recorded, so no.
It's on record, folks. Gus refused. It's gone down in my books now. That's it. Anyway, let's talk about you. And obviously, I know a bit about your background, but I'd love for you to tell us more about what you do and how you came to do it, please.
Sure. So let's go right back to the beginning. I'll keep this brief. So I was born in the late 70s
we go right back. Oh my God.
In the suburbs of Coventry, working class family, working class background, all that kind of stuff. School, then I went to university. And when I went to university, basically I tried lots of different subjects and I failed at most things. Doing a marketing degree was a last resort. I failed French, I failed history, I failed law, I failed psychology, I failed sociology, etc. And then I did marketing and I found it really easy. And I thought, I should do this forever, which is exactly what I did. So I had a long and illustrious marketing career working for some of the world's largest companies. And then I left all that to run a pub. So I ran a local pub for a little while. So I did that for 3 years. And that's what helped me decide that actually I'm going to start a marketing agency, because running a pub was a massive pain in the backside. I loved it. But the time that I wanted to relax was actually the time everybody else wanted a beer. I learned so much in the pub that starting a marketing agency seemed like a no-brainer, and it was really easy. So I did that in 2017, and I've been running it ever since. I started my business life as a social media manager, and in recent years niched into LinkedIn, because actually that's where I make my money, but that's where I help clients to make theirs as well.
And you don't do social media management as such anymore, but do you help people one-to-one? Because I know you're a trainer and you train groups.
Yes, yeah. I do one-to-one, team training, group training, workshops, etc. So it's very much focused on like the cliche of give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, he'll eat forever. It's that kind of thing. While I was managing people's social media, what I discovered was that they didn't really care. They didn't really care what I was doing. They just wanted something to go out in the world. And then when I started talking about ideal clients and strategy and positioning and targeting, etc., most people would switch off. So I went into the training side of it to say, this is all the stuff that you need to do. Now go and do it. Now implement it. And it's much easier because obviously if they learn it bottom up, then they'll be delivering that kind of on a regular basis. So yeah, I do one-to-one and kind of team training.
So I'm going to make an assumption then based on that conversation that the people you train, ideally, they are keen to learn and keen to implement. Is that an ideal trainee?
Yeah, absolutely. So people that want me to manage their social media or wanted me to manage their social media are people that didn't have the time, the knowledge or the inclination. A lot of my clients that I train are people that have some knowledge and have some time and have the inclination to grow their business, and they understand how important it is. And I think it's understanding the importance of social media, of digital marketing, of being online, etc., to their business.
Yeah, nice. And one of the things that I know is a theme that runs through not only your work, but your talks, because you're an awesome speaker. Let me just say, Gus is amazing now. It makes me want to puke how good he is on stage.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Is this feeling about being intentionally you? So tell me more about that.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you for listening to my talks and your kind words. It's a very traditional marketing phrase to say, be yourself. We've all heard the cliche that everyone else is taken and all that kind of stuff. But I think being yourself is not enough. I think being intentionally yourself and actually leaning into who you are, the good and the bad. What I see particularly on LinkedIn, it's the growth of the personal brand, and it's the growth of people getting to know each other as individuals. And all marketers use the cliche that Richard Branson has more followers than Virgin and Bill Gates has more followers than Microsoft. Is because as humans, we love seeing people's faces and learning about people and reading their stories and all that kind of stuff. So when I talk about being intentionally you, it's actually really leaning into who you are, your values, your integrity, what you stand for, the things you like, the things you don't like, the bits of your day that you don't really want to share, or, it's the Adrian Molification of LinkedIn. It's kind of like the journaling your life, the good and the bad. I went to see a client. I got this testimonial. Here's a case study. By the way, I fell down the stairs. I made a lasagna. I took my kid to school, whatever it may be. It's the real personable element which helps people to learn more about us and then makes them choose us as opposed to choosing somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I can feel that as well. I'm a big LinkedIner. It's my favorite social media platform. And this is one of the reasons I wanted you on the show is because if what you say aligns so well with the point of this whole show, it's inspired by Dolly Parton's quote, which I'm going to butcher now, but it's something along the lines of find out who you are and then do it on purpose. And as a child, I was frequently told to stop showing off. And that's why the show is called The Show Off, because it's a show. And also, I'm showing off, everyone. Yeah. But, again, that's why another reason I asked you on is because you seem to me like you know who you are and you're doing it on purpose. You're being intentionally you. You're showing up online as yourself, but also like there's this thing that we all should be striving for, which is when you meet you in person, it should be the same as what you look like and sound like online, and it shouldn't jar. That's obviously what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really important. And being yourself and being intentionally yourself makes us more memorable. And I think the point is that, as we said earlier, you and I met at an event. We've met at many events since then, and these events have hundreds of people in the room. And in a sea of people that are all generally the same height and generally the same kind of look and all that kind of stuff, you have to find a way to stand out. And when you connect to people online, when you're having conversations with people, when you meet people, it's all those little elements that get somebody to know somebody else. So I often wear an orange bandana or a black bandana, or I'm wearing a turban, or I'm wearing my orange trainers, etc. Showing off is not about being an extrovert or being loud. It's about standing out however you wish to stand out. Sometimes people stand out simply by being quiet and not saying anything. Particularly online, when you then meet those people in person, it's about having that affinity with that person because it feels like you already know them, which then accelerates the conversations to wherever you want to take it.
Yeah. It's a funny dance, isn't it, being visible on social media, because I'm a bit of an ambivert, so I can appear to be extroverted, but I do need recharging time. But I've got friends who are massive introverts, but they have to find a way to show up so that they're visible to the people who want to work with them, but not in a way that will tire them out. Have you ever had any clients like that? How do you help a client like that who wants to be visible but might not feel like it's the most natural thing?
I don't want to cause any kind of sweeping generalizations here, but approximately 80% of my clients are female. And the majority of those women will come to me and say, I don't want to be online, or I don't want to be visible online, or I don't know how to share my story online. And the reasons could be, I'm still connected to my ex-husband, or I don't want my boss to see it, or my former boss, or my husband's boss, or my friends. What if they laugh at me, or what if I say the wrong things? I often say, if people aren't paying your bills, it doesn't matter what their opinion is. The whole point of social media is showing up for the people that need us to show up for them. The only person that has lived your life is you. So AI can't do this. Ghostwriters can't do this. Anybody else can't write those stories. Only you can write those stories. So if you fell down the stairs, then you should tell that story. If you made a lasagna, tell that story. If your kid's school has been shut down for a couple of days, like without notice, you should share that story. You don't have to shout, you don't have to scream, you don't have to sing songs or, dance in a onesie or anything like that.
So I can see these people because I've been that person who started on LinkedIn and knew I wanted to post but didn't know what to post, and then was scared about previous colleagues judging me. I was there for sure. But some of your clients, they don't know themselves 100% yet. I mean, to an extent, I think good old Dolly, as my spiritual leader, life's journey is finding out more and more about yourself as you go through life and noticing the programming that was installed when you were a child and trying to fit into society and fitting into your whatever was going on in your family life and school life and society and what have you. So is that ever a problem where you're trying to help a person be intentionally themselves, but they're not even ready for that because they're not 100% confident in who they are, or they don't know themselves well enough yet? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah, that would make sense. I think there always has to be a mindset shift. And this is partly why I've moved away from the management side, because actually just managing somebody else's social media, if they don't know themselves, there is no way I can create any kind of Canva images that will explain who they are because they just don't know themselves. So a lot of my longer training packages, so I have something called the Social Superstar Strategy, which is basically a 12-week program where we delve into all that. We do the mindset shift, work out who they are, who their ideal clients are, what they want to talk about, etc. And so, not always, but sometimes there has to be a change in their mindset from where they were to where they want to be. And I think sometimes as humans, it's a human foible that we spend way too long looking backwards and think, well, this is what shaped us, or this is what made us, and or this is the ideals that I have to live up to, etc. But ultimately, you want to make money. If you run a business, you want to make money. You want to create financial freedom that allows you to do all the other things and be the person that you want to be. That's often the biggest mindset shift, is people knowing that actually they can just be themselves rather than be somebody that somebody else wants them to be.
Yes, and there are so many examples. People think of LinkedIn as the least personal platform, but there are people sharing all sorts of weird and wonderful things about themselves that you would think would put people off, but it just makes them stand out more. Completely on board with that. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, turning the spotlight directly in your face, is like I think I started on this train and then I got distracted. You've looked like you are 100% yourself. You look like you know who you are and you're 100% yourself. Has that always been the way? Have you ever felt like you need to change who you are or dull it down or be different? Or has that ever been part of your journey? Or were you born this way? Like, I know who I am, see me shine.
No, I think it's a strange kind of way. By having the support of a positive tribe around me now, including people like yourself, means that I feel like I am myself now. I think growing up and being in school and then in sixth form and then actually to a certain extent going to university as well, I thought I always had to fit certain ideals or fit into other people's thoughts and like into their boxes that they've created for me. It wasn't until I started my own business that I thought, no, I need to be the person that people need me to be, but that is myself. And quite frankly, I want to attract the people that know me, like me, and trust me, which ultimately means that I'll make friends and I'll get clients. So there has been a certain shift in the way I am. And I think I always say that what I am today is the person I was always meant to be. I just never was, because I was always in the shadow of other people, or I'm going to pretend to be somebody else to make somebody else happy.
Yeah.
And the first couple of years, I didn't really make much money and I wasn't really trusted. And people would always say, oh, you do the same thing as this guy, one of my competitors, for example. And it's because I always watched my competitors and thought, oh, I should do that as well, or I should copy this. When I took out the word competition from my vocabulary, it changed the way I think about business. And I started attracting people that liked me for me, as opposed to just people that thought, oh, he just does what everybody else does.
Like,
So you go into Google and you type in social media manager or LinkedIn trainer or whatever it may be. There's a million people, right? It's about finding yourself, being intentional with who you are. It's never about creating a persona or trying to be funny when you're not, or trying to trying to dance when you're not a dancer, and all that kind of stuff. LinkedIn alone, for example, there are 1.2 billion people on LinkedIn. So if somebody says I don't like you, there'll be thousands of others that say they do. It's leaning into who you are.
oh, hot tips. Thanks, Gus. That's brilliant. There's bound to be so many people who resonate with that. I mean, I certainly do. And that tracks with my experience. I felt like I wasn't me, and didn't realize I wasn't being me until I set up my business. And then it is all on you. Then probably is examples of people who are pretending not to be them and they're making money, but they can't be happy, surely. They can't be happy and their clients can't be happy. It just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
absolutely. Many years ago, my mom said to me that if you never lie, then you never have to remember anything. And I think that's a really important thing, that when you are trying to live in a different persona or trying to be somebody that other people want you to be, it's just a never ending lie. And you can't, it's not good for your health. It's not good for your mental health. By being yourself, you're attracting the right people around you. Like, why would you want to be surrounded by people who are looking for a different version of you? I normally say on LinkedIn, every Friday, just journal your week. Just write a post and say, right, Monday I did this, Tuesday I did this, Wednesday I did this. When I write posts like that, people ignore all the marketing stuff and the LinkedIn stuff, and they'll pick on something like, oh, I didn't know you like doner kebabs, or I didn't know you support Liverpool FC, or whatever it might be.
I remember you saying that as a tip at the end of one of your talks. And that week I did journal my week and I got fabulous engagement. It was a really good post. And then I didn't do it again. Because getting consistent with your content is a really, really tricky thing. It's one of the trickiest things as a small business owner if you're creating your own content. And this is just such a smooth segue into the fact the doors are now open to your membership, which helps people with exactly that problem, being consistent with your content. Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. So I have a membership. It's called The Squeeze. It's very much about squeezing the juice out of LinkedIn, but also it's like me squeezing you. So putting my arm around you to help you kind of through the mire
like
of
in a
LinkedIn.
vice.
Not in a vice. No,
Yeah,
no.
good.
Not unless you need it. Not, I charge extra for that.
That's off menu.
Yeah, off menu. Yeah, absolutely. So the reason the membership came about is because over the years, it's no exaggeration to say I've helped literally thousands of people with LinkedIn through workshops, teams, groups, one-to-ones, etc. Only a small percentage do what I tell them to do. So the purpose of the membership is actually to put my arm around you and hold you accountable to say, no, let's go through this and let's do this step-by-step process to help you with LinkedIn. To be honest, people come back to me and say, right, I had a training session with you last year. Can I now book another one because I didn't do anything over the last 6 months or 12 months? And I say, well, it's a complete waste of your time. So hence the membership, join my membership to then let me hold your hand through the process on a regular basis. There's accountability, there's Q&A sessions, there's content strategy sessions. Essentially, you're paying me monthly to kick your ass, to make sure that you keep posting. That's kind of the long and short of it.
The doors are open now, people. The link will be in the show notes or the caption, however I'm sharing this. So look out for that.
I'll tell you a little short story about that. I said about 2 years ago, I'm going to launch a membership. And then I said, I'm launching it in a few months. And then what happened was I got all the ideas together. I got the plans together. I knew the site I was going to use, but I'm not a tech specialist. So I was going to hire a tech specialist. So I interviewed a few people. I chose the person that I thought was going to work with me. And essentially, they tried selling me a ridiculously expensive monthly package, which included loads of software that I didn't need. And it was like, oh, you need to add these 2 plugins to your website, and you need to add Zapier, and you need to get this you need to sign up for this membership so we can kind of ask questions and do this and do that. And it was completely nonsensical. And I went quite far down the route of going forward with them until I realized actually it just didn't make any sense at all. I would need like 30 monthly members just to pay their monthly fee. So I stepped away from that. But the point is that they showed up online pretending to know that they knew something, but they didn't. And I eventually worked out that they didn't. The thing is, people will eventually find you out. If you're if you're not intentionally yourself and you're not authentic and you don't have integrity and you're not honest and all that kind of stuff, ultimately people find out.
So where can people find you? I presume you want them to link up with you on LinkedIn, yes?
Yes, yeah. I almost said Instagram, but no, LinkedIn is the place to be.
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, as a social media manager, I've got about 40 different apps.
I bet you have.
I really only show up on LinkedIn. That's kind of where I do my best work. So yeah, come and find me on LinkedIn. My website is themguru.co.uk. The M stands for marketing, of course. It took me ages to come up with that. But yeah, come and find me on LinkedIn. That's where I tell my best stories and make my best friends.
Yeah, highly recommend linking up with Gus. He does give the best hugs as well. So watch out if you're at a conference. That's
I'm ready.
number one on your dance card. Go and hug God.
Absolutely.
Gus. Thank you so much for joining us and for speaking to me. Well done. How do you win?
Yeah, no.
Well
Yeah,
done.
no, that's the end. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Brilliant. Thank you. Stop.
You have witnessed the show off with Janine Coombs. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button and share with your friends. For more episodes, go to janinecoombs.co.uk/show off.